What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 170, Focused in Fundraising. Today we have a lot of exciting stuff going on. I will be doing this Han Solo, so we're going to get right into job changes. Sarah Williams transitioned from the role at Winmark Investment Partners to the investment team at Mount Holyoke College Endowment. Williams moves from a smaller RIA into an endowment seat with direct exposure to manager selection and portfolio construction. Mount Holyoke's endowment, based in South Hadley, Massachusetts, supports the liberal arts college's long-term financial mission and allocates across traditional and alternative asset classes. Now we're going to Danielle Reed. She transitioned from Portfolio Road at Jordan Park to Managing Director, Investments at Builder Vision. Reed joins the Chicago-based impact investment platform, which deploys capital across public equities, private investments, and philanthropy on behalf of the Pritzker-Pucker family. Jordan Park, where Reed previously served, is a San Francisco-based multifamily office known for managing complex, multi-generational wealth for technology sector clients. And last but not least, on the job changes front, Christopher Bartow transitioned from Fort Pitt Capital Group, which I think is a really cool name for a firm, to Senior Investment Analyst at Blockhouse Investments, LLC. Bartow previously served at Fort Pitt, a Pittsburgh-based RIA, managing approximately $3 billion in assets for individuals, families, and institutions. Blockhouse Investments is a smaller, more specialized firm, where an analyst-level hire is likely to carry meaningful influence over manager sourcing and investment decision-making. So some exciting stuff. We're going to go to the wealth management, RIA, M&A, and FA side of things. Bernard Schoenfield, a longtime Park Avenue securities advisor with nearly 2 decades of experience, launched Brooklyn-based Schoenfield Wealth Management as an SEC-registered RIA, serving high-net-worth individuals, corporations, and charitable organizations with a $500,000 minimum and platforms including AssetMark and Betterment Advisor Solutions. Now, Michael Evans and David Jasper, former UBS managing directors who oversaw approximately $3.5 billion in client assets, launched San Francisco-based Beacon Coast Partners as an independent, employee-owned RIA, specializing in ultra-high net worth founders and executives navigating concentrated equity and liquidity events, with Fidelity Investments serving as custodian. Travis Hartman, a former Stockman wealth management advisor with more than 14 years of industry experience, clearly a seasoned veteran, launched Bozeman, Montana-based Lucent Financial LLC as an RIA, serving individuals, families, trusts, and charitable foundations with a $100,000 account minimum, and Charles Schwab as the recommended custodian. Now we're heading over to consultants. So for investments right now, the Firefighters Retirement System of Louisiana, also known as FRS, just voted to commit $255 million to HarborVest Partners through a customized fund of one structure, approving $195 million to HarborVest FRS R3 with 65% targeted for primaries, 15% for secondaries, and 20% for co-investments, and a separate $60 million to HarborVest FRS R3 for private real assets. Both commitments are pending further due diligence and contract negotiations, and were recommended jointly by NEPC and FRS staff. Also, another exciting thing about FRS, they had $2.5 billion. Their metro area is Baton Rouge. They use NEPC as a general consultant and private credit consultant. Some exciting stuff. And now we are going to head to the West Coast. Sacramento County Employees Retirement System, also known as SERS, committed 30 million euros each to buyout funds, Main Capital Partners, Fund 9, and Waterlands Private Equity Fund 10, Cooperative WA, for a total of 60 million euros, approximately $70 million, and commitments made in April. The Main Capital commitment is a new relationship, with the Waterland commitment is a follow-on to its prior investment in Fund 7 in 2015. And now we're going to the Midwest. So we've covered the South, the West Coast, the Midwest, very varied here. So the Monroe County Employees Retirement System terminated its Winslow large growth allocation, reallocating the proceeds to Fidelity S&P 500. The pension also approved a rebalance, reducing $1.5 million from its mid-cap mandate with Sizer Capital and $2.5 million from its small mid-cap mandate with Reinhardt Partners. A thing about Monroe County Employees Retirement System, it's in Detroit, Michigan. It has $230 million AUM, and they leverage Mariner Institutional as a general and private consultant simultaneously. Now we're heading over to searches. We will stay in the Northeast for this one. So the Falmouth Retirement System has issued an RFP for a passive U.S. mid-cap growth equity manager to oversee up to 5.75% of its defined benefit plan with an expected allocation of $10 million to $15 million at the time of funding. The pension said it will consider both pooled funds and SMAs, with proposals due July 8th at 2 p.m., so, a little over 3 weeks from now, Eastern Time. Investment consultant Wainwright Investment Counsel is administering the search on behalf of the pension, and they have $214 million AUM. They're in the Boston metro area, and as we said, they use Wainwright Investment Counsel LLC as the general consultant and private credit consultant. And now we're going to stay in Massachusetts and stay in the Boston metro area. The Massachusetts Water Resources Authority Employees Retirement System, which is a mouthful, voted to hire Evanston Capital Management to manage the approximately $47 million hedge fund allocation, selecting the firm over Corbin Capital and UBS following a competitive RFP process. As of April 30th, MWRA's existing hedge fund exposure of approximately $47.6 million was split among Prime Portfolio Completion Strategies, Corbin Pinehouse Partners, and UBS Neutral Alpha Strategies, the latter two of which had been invested since November 2018. So, 7.5 years ago, a substantial amount of time. Now we're heading over to the city that never sleeps, the concrete jungle. New York City Comptroller Mark Levine and the trustees of the city's 5 public pension systems have launched a search for asset managers to offer public equity passive indexing services. The first competitive rebid of the mandate since 2017, so almost a decade ago. The search covers capitalization weighted indexes, smart beta, and alternative weighted indexes, and ESG and carbon constrained strategies with the allocation amount to be determined based on the needs of each system. Selected managers will be awarded 3-year contracts with renewal options. So exciting stuff. Now we're going to head to fundraising, my personal favorite of the program. Argosy Strategic Partners, the secondaries investment unit of Wayne, Pennsylvania-based Argosy Capital Group, which is in our backyard, has closed its 3rd fund at $145 million. The vehicle, Argosy Strategic Partners Fund 3, had raised about $137 million as of March 2026, according to an SEC filing. The fund reportedly targets the small end of the secondaries market, writing checks between $100,000 and $10 million across LP interest and direct company interest in buyout, venture, growth capital, real estate, energy, and credit funds. Argosy Strategic Partners Fund 2 closed in March 2022, exceeding its $50 million target with a total raise of $70 million, so exceeded by $20 million, a considerable and significant amount. Blume Ventures, a Bangalore early-stage venture capital firm, is planning a new continuation fund with a target corpus of $40 million, according to Deal Street Asia. The firm has raised 4 core funds to date and is simultaneously in the market for its 5th flagship vehicle. Blume's most recent primary fund, Blume Ventures Fund 5, held a first close at $175 million in October of 2025 and was targeting a final close of $250 million to $275 million by early 2026. Its predecessor, Fund 4, closed at over $250 million in December 2022. The firm manages over $800 million assets across its 4 funds and related vehicles. And now to what I think the most exciting fundraise here. AttoTude Inc., a Menlo Park, California-based developer with interconnect technology for AI infrastructure, raised $52 million in a Series C funding led by the Wesley Group. New investors Keysight, Allegis Capital, and DNX joined the round alongside existing investors Sutter Hill Ventures, Mayfield, Cannon, and Wing Venture Capital. The round brings AttoTude's total funding to $143 million. Proceeds will fund the build-out of first prototypes and the establishment of a scalable supply chain as AttoTude advances towards commercialization with leading hyperscale and AI infrastructure companies. And I just think this really aligns with the growing, just the nonstop hunger for AI investment, the nonstop hunger for AI infrastructure. If it's, semiconductors, data centers. I mean, the appetite is insatiable. It is unparalleled, and it is really exciting. And I mean, Menlo Park, California, it's part of Silicon Valley. It's an area that is seeing just, I mean, so much capital deployment to really help fund the investments in AI infrastructure and really help bolster it. Now we're going over to cocktails. So 2 exciting cities on the come up. So we have Chicago, which will be tonight, the Windy City, and then we will be in London in less than 2 weeks on June 30th. London is one of my favorite cities personally. So thank you guys coming out, and we will see you soon.
This episode is brought to you by Dakota Marketplace. Are you tired of constantly jumping between multiple databases and channels to find the right investment opportunities? Introducing Dakota Marketplace, the comprehensive institutional and intermediary database built by fundraisers for fundraisers. With Dakota Marketplace, you'll have access to all channels and asset classes in one place, saving you time and streamlining your fundraising process. Say goodbye to the frustration of searching through multiple databases, websites, Form ADVs, and say hello to a seamless and efficient fundraising experience. Sign up now and see the difference Dakota Marketplace can make for you. Visit dakota.com/Dakota-Marketplace today.